On those papers, what I want you to do is I need you to make a Cornell note format so that on the left-hand side you have a line, right? Fold your paper if you need to. Just make a line real quick. I need you to go super fast on this. Are you ready? I'm going to spit out some dates.
No, I'm not ready.
We're almost done. I need you to work hard. Here we go. Here's the dates. 1776, 1803, 1815, 1820, 1828, 1830, 1838, I'm going to stop right there. Talk with your partners. Put on the right-hand side, once you discuss with your partners, what those dates are. Put your pencils down. Face forward. Thanks for being quiet. 1776, the United States becomes its own nation. Declaration of Independence, right? 1803, Louisiana Purchase. 1804 to 1806, just after that, that's when they send out Lewis and Clark. They go all the way to the Oregon coast with the help of the bird woman, Sacagawea. They come back. The territory is explored. By 1815, they have established themselves as a world power. That's the Treaty of Ghent. They've beat the British twice. The War of 1812 has ended. In 1815, that's when Andrew Jackson becomes a hero. Remember? He's related to Arnold, the bodybuilder, right? In terms of the same idea, right? By 1820, the fighting in between the North and the South has forced Congress to create a compromise, right? So that they will stop fighting. It's the Missouri Compromise. This is related to what I'm going to be talking about in just a second. 1828, Andrew Jackson's elected, which is also related to Manifest Destiny. I'll tell you about him in a second, right? In 1830, they passed the Indian Removal Act, getting rid of the Native Americans. By 1838, all the Native Americans have been relocated. This is your timeline. The next one that I want to talk about is 1840 to 1860. That is Manifest Destiny. That's what they call it. 1840 to 1860. I would argue that this idea of manifest destiny, that God gave somebody the right to take over somebody else's land, has been around for a long time, longer than 1840 to 1860. Question right now, who can tell me what the date is of San Jacinto? What's the date? Who? Raise your hand. Tell me. What is it? No. San Jacinto. These are the words that I'm looking at right now. Are you ready? Look at these words. I want you to be finding it right now, that San Jacinto. These are the words I'm looking at. I'm looking at Empresarios, Stephen F. Austin, Santa Ana, Alamo, San Jacinto. I'm looking at James K. Polk. I'm looking at the Mexican Cession. Who can tell me the date for San Jacinto? I'm waiting for you.
1858.
You're not even looking for it. You're just guessing. It's in your book.
1836.
1836. That's the next one you should write down. 1836. Why is 1836 important? Let's look at this again. 1836 is important. Mexico, this large yellow area right here, is having a border problem with Americans sneaking in and demanding rights of the Mexicans. Having a border problem. So, what Mexico decides to do is to fortify the border. They want to make the border barrier so that it is filled with Mexicans. How are they going to do that? Well, people want to move in already. So they send these people up there called empresarios. Say empresarios. Yes, they are what? They're Mexican agents, and they ask the people who want to come into Mexico to come into Mexico, but they have to swear. They have to swear. I'll draw my little swear. That's a 3-fingered hand. You have to swear to be a Mexican citizen. And so Stephen F. Austin and his 300 families come in and they swear to be Mexican citizens. No problem. Why do they want to come in to this area? Why do they want to do it? Okay, well, let's backtrack just a little bit, right? We're going to backtrack just a little bit. This land represents the South, right? And in the South, we know that they make money by doing what? Thank you for raising your hand. Thank you for raising your hand. Yes.
Cotton.
Yes, by farming cotton, right? We have just finished this huge unit on cotton and slavery, right? Cotton, textile mills, slavery. 1793. You can even throw that into your timeline. 1793. That's the cotton gin. You know by the graphing census data that from the cotton gin, slavery explodes. And by 1830, there are 2 million slaves in the United States. Right? So, by 1830, you got to understand that this land is now taken up. Right? Why would somebody want to go to Texas? How many of you guys have been to Texas? Who's been to Houston before? What is Houston like in terms of its weather? It's nasty. It's nasty. Who would in their right minds would want to go live in Houston? Right? What would you want to do there? The whole reason why, please focus. The whole reason why you want to do it has to do with the original idea at the beginning of this year. At the beginning of this year, we did a pictorial input. At the center of the pictorial input was what? It's up on that ceiling over there in the background. Up on the ceiling. What is it? It's gold, right? That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason. So we're talking about a money interest. You wouldn't go to Texas. You wouldn't go to Texas. You wouldn't do it. But you would if you had an idea that you could make some money down there, right? That's the whole point. So these people again who swore to be Mexican citizens are like, yeah, we're gonna move into Texas, right? We will help you with your little border thing. Yeah, we'll do that. But guess what? They weren't gonna follow the Mexican rules. The Mexican rules are twofold. One of them is that you gotta become Catholic. Second one is that you can't have slavery. So there's a problem, right? Somebody tell me about what happened when the Americans started to disagree with the Mexican laws. You read about it just now. What happened to the Mexicans' homes? I'll give you a hint. Battering ram. What happened? Thank you for raising your hand. What's up with you guys today? Go ahead. What happened?
They came in and stole it. They came in and the battering rams.
Yeah, and they blew up. Can you read me the section in the book where it talks about the battering rams? Thank you. On page, what page?
60.
On page 60.
We went through the old adobe and picket houses of Mexicans using battering rams made of logs 10 or 12 feet long. How the women and children would yell when we knocked holes in the walls through which we passed.
That's what happened, right? And so now there's a conflict in between the American settlers and the Mexican authority. By 1830, in your books, it says that there are more Americans than Mexicans in Mexico. Sound familiar? Weird, right? And so, of course, they're trying to overthrow the little laws that the Mexicans have over there, and it ends up becoming a beef with this guy, Santa Anna, right? And so what ends up happening is that Santa Anna fights some battles, At the Alamo, he murders everybody. At the Goliad, he murders everybody. And so now there's a major fiasco. By 1836, the Battle of San Jacinto has happened. And now this becomes its own independent nation. On your timelines, I want you to write that Texas becomes its own independent nation in 1836. San Jacinto. Right here. Its own independent nation. (1846), 1845, something else happens. Again, I look to the words. James K. Polk, he asked Texas to become part of the United States. That's called annex. Say annex. Annex. It's ANNEX. Write it on your timeline. 1845, Texas is annexed into the United States. Make room. So for 9 to 10 years, Texas is its own independent nation, but then it becomes part of the United States. This angers some people because now the South is larger than the North. They had already made a compromise about the Missouri Compromise, right? And since people are thinking to themselves, oh, we're just going to march on through, right? Manifest destiny because God told us. The Northerners are extremely worried that the people who are moving this way, the only reason why they're moving this way is because of farmland, right? They want to grow their beloved cotton plant. Right? That means slavery, that these will all be slave states all the way across the nation. That's a problem. It's a major, major problem. In 1846, what ends up happening is that there are massive amounts of soldiers that are brought down because Mexico does not like the fact that they lost this huge amount of territory. Santa Anna's back into power. Some skirmishes happen on the border, which is what you're going to read next. And then there's a fight. Next on your timeline, 1846 to 1848, Mexican-American War. It ends with another word up here. Number 20, the Treaty of Guadalupe, Hidalgo. In the Treaty of Guadalupe, Hidalgo, look at the land that's taken. That's given up by Mexico. This is called the Mexican Cession. Right here. This happens in the Treaty of Guadalupe, Hidalgo. This entire land is now given up. Yeah. How convenient. 1849, the next year, what happens? Thank you for raising your hand. Are you staring blankly at the thing? Do you not know what happens in 1849? We have, yes, the gold rush. The gold rush. They find gold in California. Late 1848, 1849, they find gold. 49ers come. That's our football team.
Yeah.
That's what they're named after. Again, the cheerleaders are called the gold rush. You need a certain amount of people in order to become a state. So the very next year, because of the massive immigration, because of the gold rush, California becomes a state in 1850. And just a couple of years later, 1857, Petaluma becomes incorporated.
Oh, yeah.